Have you ever caught yourself saying, I can't do it because I don't have the right equipment, I don't have enough time, I'm just not lucky enough? We all have. We've all built walls of excuses around our dreams. But today, I want to share a story that will make you want to tear down every single one of those walls. This is the story of Arjun. The morning sun had barely pierced the mist when Arjun, a young boy from a small village, tied the laces of his worn-out sneakers. The track he was about to run on wasn't a state-of-the-art facility. It was a cracked, dusty loop behind his village school. As he started his warm-up, the familiar sound of laughter followed him. "Still trying to be an athlete with those shoes?" one of the other boys jeered. "You'll never even make it past the district level." Arjun didn't answer. He just kept stretching. He had heard it all before. He knew his shoes were old, his diet was nothing more than simple, home-cooked meals, and his training ground was a far cry from what others had. But in his mind, none of that mattered. Every single morning, while the rest of the world was still asleep, Arjun ran. He was fueled by the words his father had told him during a particularly tough year when the crops failed and the family had nothing. His father had looked him in the eyes and said, "Son, life doesn't care about your excuses. It only listens to your effort." Those words became Arjun's mantra. He made a promise to himself. He stopped saying, "I can't." He stopped saying, "I don't have enough." He completely erased the words, "maybe later," from his vocabulary. He just ran. When the sun beat down mercilessly, he ran. When the monsoon rains turned the dusty track to mud, he ran. When his stomach was empty and his body screamed for rest, he ran. He ran until his lungs felt like they were on fire, until his legs shook with exhaustion. With every single lap, a voice in his head grew louder and clearer. "Keep going. Don't stop. Keep going." Each stride was a victory over doubt. Each drop of sweat was a testament to his commitment. He wasn't just running on a track. He was racing against his own limitations, pushing past the whispers of doubt from others and the roar of his own fatigue. Months melted away, each day a carbon copy of the last. Wake up, run, work, sleep, repeat. Then the day of the district meet arrived. The atmosphere was electric, but also intimidating. Competitors from the big cities showed up, looking like professional athletes. They had sleek, expensive spikes, branded jerseys, and an air of confidence that comes from having the best of everything. For a fleeting moment, Arjun felt a flicker of doubt. He looked at their polished gear, then down at his own tattered sneakers. Was he out of his league? But then he looked at his hands, calloused from hard work on the farm, steady and strong from months of relentless training. He looked at his legs, not sculpted in a fancy gym, but hardened by thousands of laps on that dusty village track. He wasn't defined by what he wore, but by what he'd done. The runners took their positions. The air was thick with tension. The starter pistol fired, and Arjun ran. He ran with everything he had. He poured every early morning, every aching muscle, every single sacrifice into that race. There were no excuses in his mind, no complaints about his shoes or his simple diet. There was only one thing: pure, raw purpose. He could feel the memory of his father's words pushing him forward. He could feel the strength he had built, lap by painful lap. He wasn't just running against the other athletes. He was running with the spirit of his entire village, with the hope of his family, with the fire of his own unyielding ambition. He crossed the finish line. First, a moment of stunned silence hung over the crowd before it erupted into a deafening roar of cheers. They couldn't believe it. How could this boy, with his simple gear and humble background, have beaten the city champions? Reporters swarmed him, microphones pushed into his face. "How did you do it?" they asked, breathless. How did someone with so little beat those with so much? Arjun, catching his breath, offered a small, knowing smile. He looked at the reporters, then at the stunned faces of his competitors. "They had better shoes," he said, his voice clear and steady. "But I had better reasons." That day, Arjun's story became a legend. It traveled far beyond the borders of his small village, becoming a powerful reminder for everyone who heard it. A reminder that winners are not defined by their circumstances. They are not the ones with the fewest obstacles, but the ones with the strongest will. Winners don't waste their precious time and energy explaining why they can't. They don't complain about what's missing. Instead, they focus on what they have, and they use it to its absolute maximum potential. They find a way. They always find a way. The moral of Arjun's story is simple but incredibly powerful. Winners don't make excuses. They make progress. Excuses are a comfortable trap. They feel good in the moment because they protect our pride and justify our lack of results. It wasn't my fault, we tell ourselves. The conditions weren't right. But deep down, we know that every excuse is a step away from our goal. It's a surrender. True winners, people like Arjun, operate differently. They take radical ownership of their lives. They see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to get stronger, smarter, and more resilient. They understand that success isn't born from perfect conditions. It's forged in the fire of adversity. It's the result of persistence when you want to quit, discipline when you want to be lazy, and a burning determination that refuses to be extinguished. So the next time you find yourself about to make an excuse, think of Arjun. Think about his worn-out shoes and his dusty track. Ask yourself, what's my excuse? And more importantly, what's my reason? Is my reason to succeed stronger than my excuse to fail? Because the truth is, you can have results or you can have excuses. You can't have both. Choose to be a winner. Choose to find solutions. Choose to work harder. Choose to turn your challenges into your greatest triumphs. Stop explaining why you can't and start showing the world why you can. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe for more content that inspires you to be your best self. We'll see you in the next video.